welcome to my channel, and today we are going to do a little galaxy painting on canvas, and I'm using these value packs. You buy several ones for cheap. This is 280 GSM canvas panel. As far as I know, it has not been primed. It does not say so. It has not been gesso, no nothing. And I start by activating my watercolors first by adding a drop of water to them and waiting for half a minute. And then I just start applying my lightest color, which in my case is cerulean blue, to the center of the canvas. And I spread it with a very wet brush. I'm using a lot of water for this painting. I try to focus my lightest color towards the center area of my painting, and then I will come over with darker ones and build it up gradually so I get more depth within the galaxy. Once I have covered that middle section, I switch to phthalo blue and I apply it from the edges of the light section towards a bit to the center. I want to get a bit of contrast in the very middle point where it all begins. And I'm using very random, very scribble-like motions for this. I want to try a bit of will to wet, and if that doesn't work, then just layer it on top of each other, since in full honesty, I've never painted with watercolors on canvas before, or at least not on a canvas this big. And I would have used a smaller one, like a 12 by 18 centimeters or something, but I didn't have any. And in case I get edges that are too harsh or an area that is too dark, I just add a bit more water and tap it with a paper towel or a napkin so I can lift off, similar to when you paint on normal watercolor paper. And I just want to state that canvas is very different from watercolor paper. This is not your 100% cotton paper. It's going to behave very differently, and it's not bad in any means. It's just going to be different. And once I have my phthalo blue, I start adding indigo blue towards the side edges and also the angles, and I slightly bring it up a bit more towards the center so it can blend with my lighter colors. And I'm working section by section. I have started from the bottom of the canvas and then I work my way towards the angles, again using scribble motions and just random brush strokes and tapping. I add water at some parts to make it blend better towards my lighter areas. And again, using a paper towel is very helpful even with blending. I just tap it very gently so it can blend more gradually, more naturally into my cerulean blue. And then I just move on to the next area, which for me is going to be the right side. Again, I cover it first with my darkest color, which is indigo, and then I just bring it out towards the center of the painting using my brush and quite a bit of water. I'm using specifically a watercolor brush, which has a small reservoir within the handle, so I don't have to use a water jar. You can obviously use your normal brush with a wooden handle without any issues. The reason I am using this one is, if you can tell, I have a rather small desk and I'm using a rather big canvas. So I don't really have space for a water jar, and I'm very afraid I'll knock it down and it's just going to be very difficult to clean up. I keep on applying darker shades of blue and blending them towards the center until I get quite nice of depth feeling. I want very light areas and very dark ones, and I'm not very bothered by well, it's not really blotches, but these darker circles and just the traces of the brush strokes. I'm not bothered by them, since I think it just gives very nice texture and gives a more of a nebula idea to this painting, which I am enjoying very much so far. I add a bit more darker areas, bring them towards the center, and this is the technique I use for this entire painting. If something ends up being too dark, I add a bit of water and then just either dilute it or take it off with a paper towel, a napkin. Also for the blending part, cleaning off my brush from the existing paint on the piece of paper on the napkin really helps. And then I just go over the edges of wherever the colors meet and blend that out. That's a very helpful technique for this kind of paintings. And I proceed to add just a little bit more indigo towards the bottom left, and then I quickly dry everything up with a hair dryer on cold settings. I add some finishing touches to the top corner, and also I didn't like how the bottom looked there. And then I take some white gouache, I dilute it with water. I'm using the cap of the paint jar as a palette, and then I just splatter paint over the background by tapping on the brush's handle. You can obviously use this technique with a normal brush as well. It's absolutely not where you have a watercolor brush or a normal wooden handle one. And I just proceed to fill up the whole background, the whole painting with these splatters to give the idea of stars. You can add as many or as few as you like, and also using more water is going and stronger tapping motions is going to give you bigger, brighter stars, and using less water and weaker tapping motions is going to give you smaller, more defined, less bright stars. So keep that in mind. And you can also use a toothbrush. You can use an old toothbrush for this. You can use a hard bristle brush, an acrylic, whatever you have. I try to focus a bit more on the dark black areas, aka towards the edges and the corners. That way it's going to pop out more, since white is going to show more on the black like areas rather than on the bright ones. And lastly, I just assign with the gouache. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comments down below also if you have any suggestions, and we'll see each other in the next one.